Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Another job geek me.
Yeah, I think we know who got that.
First order of business would be the minutes. Minutes from the October 6th meeting.
Motion to approve is presented on those.
Thank you, Sam. Motion to approve by Sam Hutchins. Second by Jerry Hahn. Any further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion carries. Next would be your bills list and your additional bills list. I will note on the at the park, the Brent Willett lawn service. There's some bills in there for the mowing and the painting. I'll have to break down those invoices if anybody wants to see them.
I seen on the mowing, has he been holding the mowing and it just turned in the bill at once?
2 months worth. We
2 months.
missed one. Rhonda, we missed one of the months, didn't we, on the billing cycle on Willett's lawn service? We missed one of the months.
Yes, he said he turned in the bill, but he never mailed it to us. So.
Okay, I noticed it was extra high. I was wondering what was going on. I said, maybe he's held that. I was hoping all summer.
He said, I believe it's probably September, October.
You noticed on the regular bills list, there was a bill for a Ford Escape that we bought for the Sheriff's Department.
Ford
The state
Explorer.
price
Escape.
Escape was the
Escape.
detective vehicle.
Oh, the one that wrecked.
Yeah. We had
We
two.
approved that.
We had two that wrecked.
Insurance is going to pay that,
The
correct?
insurance is already paid.
Has already paid.
Okay.
Do we do any driver's training? Ed, where'd you go?
It's covered.
Huh?
It's covered.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pay the bills as presented.
Thank you, Bernard. There's a second.
Second.
Second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapproved? Motion will carry. Next order of business would be the second reading of zoning request number 2451. This was 3.192 acres on Stonehouse Road. Already approved on first reading, advertised for a second. Motion for approval and adoption.
I'll make a motion to approve second reading.
Thank you, Jeff. Second by Jerry Hahn. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry.
Where was that at?
That was Stonehouse Road.
Whereabouts?
Right in the,
Ethan, 580 feet west of Ethan Allen.
It's up on the right, past the
That's Hutchins.
before you get to Margaret Brown's old lake here.
He's gonna break that up in a lot. We looked at it for some.
Okay, second reading of text amendments for the zoning regulations. Court's already approved this at our last court meeting as well. And a motion to approve second reading and adoption.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Sam.
I'll second it.
Second by Keith. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Next, you have two tax moratorium applications. I believe you've got two in your mailbox. We'll put both of them in here. One of them is All Hayden's Incorporated, Patrick Hayden, known as the old Keynes Building. Going to estimate spending rehabilitation cost of $450,000 on that property. Probably covering himself on the dollar amount. And the other one is a piece of property located on Louisville Road. This fellow couldn't decide whether he was going to tear it down or fix it up, so he wanted to cover himself for tax purposes. You understand what I'm saying? So Barbara will find out here shortly. He's got to let us know if he gets a demolition permit.
Is there a deadline on these? Do they have to start it within a year or something?
I can't remember that off the top of my head. Yeah. Is it within a year? Yeah.
So within a year, if they don't start it, then this goes away.
Yeah.
And he has to report back to Barbara if he demolishes it down
I got
to
you.
get his tax.
I got it.
So both of these are pretty simple. Entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve both of these.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Second by Bernard Ice. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Next would be the industrial revenue bonds that took me a little while to get all the documentation to you guys, and I apologize for the delay in getting the correct information to you. Some of the information we were waiting for had to be reworked a little bit. First, I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to skip around here a little bit. I'm going to go to Jim Beam first. Allow me. Okay, Jim Beam, about 3 years ago, Mike, I believe we approved an inducement resolution that would allow Jim Beam to move forward with their project. You've got 3 warehouses already built, probably by that time 2 or 3 already built.
Move into the third one now.
Okay, again, and your total project initially was about 6 warehouses, best of my memory. And of course, some other 6 went to Marion County, so you're doing it in both places. In that process, we approved an amount equal to $205 million on the initial inducement letter. They've asked us to change that to $245 million. That's why in your package, in your vanilla folder there, you've got an amended reinstated resolution. And that's basically restating the numbers that we've already agreed to, but adding a little bit more to it. Has no effect on our debt obligation. And then in that same Jim Beam file, you have an ordinance moving forward with the total project as it sets today. Is that right, Mike? Way up. So I would...
Is all this money going to be spent at just the Boston?
all this money is being spent at the Booker No plant.
Yes.
None of it's at any other properties you all own?
It just sounded like a lot of money to the magistrates.
We have 3 currently at Booker No and a layout for 2 more, and we're trying to find a site for another. The longer term plan, there's quite a number of warehouses we need to build over the next 5 years. So these would all be at the Booker No site.
Y'all's is just substantially higher than the other 2, and I just want to be sure, since you are kind of stockholder owned, I wanted to keep it in Nelson County.
Yeah, we've been experiencing price increase on the barrels. So that bond issue covers the barrels over the 30-year life of the bond. So the renewal of those every 4 to 5 years.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve first the amended and reinstated resolution.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Bernard.
Second.
Second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapproved? Motion carries. Now, the ordinance, first reading and advertised for a second for adoption. And Mr. Harrington's going to take care of the advertisement in the Kentucky Standard on that if we approve. Motion to approve, Bernard.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye. Disapproved? Motion will carry. Now we'll go to the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Every one of these is just a little bit different. On the Bardstown Bourbon Company, you have an actual ordinance. We've already approved the resolution on their project. This is an ordinance authorizing the issuance of bonds up to $85,800,000. Again, that includes the warehousing, new distillery, bottling house, visitor center, and the brick houses themselves.
How many warehouses?
6 warehouses.
Matthew, have you had time to look over all this? Is this all?
The inducement resolution, yes. The ordinance is, we got it. We all got it at the same time yesterday afternoon. So, but it's in line with the inducement resolution.
So this is the same way, it won't affect our borrowing ability?
Right, exactly. All IRBs have no impact on your general obligation. Right, Rhonda?
Correct.
Thank you.
That is my understanding.
Motion to approve on first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll second.
Second by Sam Hutchins. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapproved? Motion will carry.
And then Judge, are y'all gonna do the advertising on that as well? Or do we need to take it all
Well,
together?
Mike would do the Jim Beam, Mike Harrington would do the Jim Beam, Raz.
Yes.
That's advertising?
Does that. Now, next is something, a new project, Heaven Hill. And that's just simply a resolution authorizing them to move forward with their project. And that's what the inducement resolution does. They'll come back later with an ordinance.
Is this the Louisville Road project?
This is the Lowell Road project. This is 3 new bourbon warehouses initially. Initially, they were just going to do 2, and I convinced them to go ahead and throw a 3rd one in there. And that way the attorneys won't get as much money. I teased you there a little bit. $65,300,000. Understand that the county will receive the liquid tax on every one of these. On all of our extension service and anybody else got the taxes will receive the liquid. So nothing changes. They are exempt from the property portion of the tax, but the liquid stays constant.
Just the liquid?
The liquid.
How much would one warehouse? Is it going to be 20,000?
These are going to be 50,000 barrel warehouses.
So 50,000 barrel, and you said it's approximately
18,000.
There's $18,500 that we get per warehouse. That's just an estimate based on our tax rate.
That's the county's side. And then the city, or the school would be
Oh,
5 times
about 5 times that, 4.5 times that. And so what you, Mike Van Gilder, you correct me if I'm wrong, the school gets about $1.45 a barrel, $1.50 a barrel, I think.
On the Beans project, the school will get about $9.5 million over 30 years.
and they'll still raise it 4% every year.
And that's based on today's rates.
So I would need a motion to approve the resolution for Heaven Hill move forward with their project. Thank you, Keith. Thank God you.
And I second that.
Thank you. 2 artists, that's the crack. They came around. Thank you. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. Based on Jim Beam's project and based on the Barstown Bourbon Company's project and Heaven Hill's project when it's completed, the 6 warehouses instead of the 3, we will receive $333,000 new revenue per year after it's all completed and done. Now, again, we got to deal with the growth part of it, and that hurts us a little bit, but it's just nice to have that new revenue coming in. $333,000. I know those are rough numbers.
I understand.
There's 30. I recalculated that a couple of years ago. Probably need to recalculate that in today's times. We get 37 cents a barrel per year.
Now, is that rate
37 pennies per barrel. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but you start adding up, it adds up real money shortly.
Does this remain the
Especially
same?
if we start paying it ourselves.
For 30 years?
30 years.
Does not change.
Unless our tax rate changes.
Yeah, that's got to do with the liquid tax portion of it.
The 14.3. We decided to change that.
No, this is the 15, 4, 15.
Yeah, 16.
It's a higher rate.
If that rate goes up.
It's a higher rate than the other rate.
Okay.
I can see him thinking.
Does anybody have any additional questions for the bond counsel while they're here, either with Jim Beam or Barstown Bourbon Company or Heaven Hills?
It's not often.
That was hard for us to do, I'm going to tell you that.
There's too many zeros there, guys.
Our little county.
Actually,
We
it's a
do
great investment.
appreciate your all's effort in our county. We really do.
Thank you for creating jobs here in the county. We absolutely appreciate that.
The key thing is solidifying the jobs and keeping the company solid financially, moving forward instead of backwards. Okay, thank you, fellas. If you need to leave, you're welcome to. Next is an off-site sign permit. This ain't for spending your money.
Oh, God, I died. That's why I'm dying.
Okay. Lighthouse Church off of Balltown Connector.
It's in my district.
That's in your district. You guys have a copy of the sign as required by our local ordinance. Fiscal Court has to approve off-site signs. In your mail, you also received a letter from the property owner allowing the sign to be placed on his property.
Is it going to be down there on his property? It's not going to be up there next to New Haven Road? I thought I read on there where it said it's going to be up next to New Haven Road.
It's going to be close to New Haven Road, yes.
Yes, his property
But
don't go up that far.
Leo Walker says he owns that property.
Who does?
Leo Walker.
That's over by old graveyard.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, definitely on that.
Who owns the graveyard?
Well, the Walker family his family buried there. Remember Chad Riggs, they don't put houses there, had the big dispute? That's
Well,
where,
he don't own the cemetery though. He
well,
might-
his family does, I guess you'd say.
But it's gonna be out of the view of the cemetery.
Be right in the corner.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm all right with that.
It's your district.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll go see if he's going to balk on the church area. How many votes out there? Motion to approve by Keith Metcalf, is there a second by Jerry Hahn? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion carries. Now, next on the agenda is a recommended a personnel policy amendment, actually recommendations from the federal, what was his title, Matthew, we worked with?
Labor Relations.
Labor
Board,
Relations
yeah.
Board? Yeah.
Department of Labor.
Department. In our personnel policy, you see, I think Greg gave you guys a copy of the text that we're changing.
Yeah, okay.
And we're basically inserting the federal guidelines, right, Matthew?
That's correct, yeah, there's really, and if I may, I'll just kind of
Yes,
explain
please.
what's going on with when the county adopted this portion of the administrative code, it did the best job it could in '93 of incorporating all elements of the Family Medical Leave Act. Well, in the 23 years since then, there have been other changes that haven't been included in our administrative code, and the fellow from the Department of Labor said the best way to fix that is to simply adopt their handbook, if you will, a page out of their handbook that sets forth all of the rights and obligations under the Family Medical Leave Act. It's actually more inclusive than what our administrative code is. So he said
Actually, personnel policy.
personnel policy.
Personnel policy.
I'm sorry, personnel policy. My apologies. So it just really brings us up to date with what we should have been doing all along.
Everybody follow me on
And
that?
we scrap ours and just.
Insert that. Yeah,
We're
That's
just
right.
gonna add a little bit of ours, what wasn't scratched out.
Yeah,
Just very little
just
bit.
more of an introduction.
Yeah.
You guys, I think you just strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need a motion to approve on first reading and advertise for a second the amendment to our personnel policy.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sam, is there a second? Second by Keith. Further discussion? All approved, say aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry. Jeff, you had a...
I was reading something. Got finished reading before you.
And we'll need to, you'll advertise.
And Elaine just brought out to my attention, for some reason I put Nelson District Court at the top. That's just a typo on my part. So I guess I need an amendment to just recognize it as Nelson Fiscal Court.
Where's that?
Right up there, top
I
first.
didn't even catch that myself.
I'm sorry about that.
That's just a typo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a typo.
See that guy?
I missed that.
Where's it at?
We all were here.
Sam,
Yeah, I know.
you're my go-to guy.
I blew it. I got
I
out.
did too, Sam. I don't know. I'm sorry. But anyway.
Okay.
We had a whole lot of reading to do.
Road Department report, Jim?
Thank
You
you.
guys know, you guys noticed that I try to bounce departments around so nobody's left out first or last, or
All right, we are still bush hogging. I think I've had a request to finish up in District 1. That's what we plan on doing. We should be done in 3 or 4 days, a week maybe. At that point in time, we're going to quit bush hogging unless we quit sooner, unless you want us to quit sooner.
Just now. Just quit.
I've been 7 weeks.
Man, that's stupid, isn't it?
You've been done before, man.
I'm not done after.
I've still got some. I was up in, I went up on across 2 mile road, and it's property, foot tall, foot and a half tall. I would like to finish it up, man. Whatever it needs.
what about the boom boards? Is it still in the shop, Jim?
The boom mower's in Somerset getting a cylinder custom fit to be stronger. It broke down. We're going to be boom mowing full time when personnel allows. When we shut the bush hogs down, we'll have enough people to do it full time. And sometimes we have enough now to do it full time. But we're in District 2, then we're going to District 5 because we've done all the other districts somewhat. That's the plan.
You'll be out of District 2 about the end of January.
And the way it's going. It could be a full-time job all year long if we had 2 people, you know, but with the fact that we do asphalt paving now and patching, we don't have the extra staff, so that's the reason that doesn't get much done, but our bush hog guys will do it when the weather changes. One crew, greater crews, we've rebuilt the Nelson County Road Department salt storage facility building. The building's finished, of course, and we've rebuilt our sand salt storage bins where we mix our sand salt. Everything's been finished, upgraded. Pipes have been moved. We're cleaned up. It looks nice. Everything worked. I'm going to order, I think, 1,000 tons of salt.
How many tons you got in right now?
About 700, 600, 600 to 700. Our salt barn was full when we quit. Pretty full, all but one truckload.
Was it about a third of the way full, maybe?
Oh no,
Yeah.
fourth at best, at best.
Really?
Yeah, we can put 2,400, 2,000, 2,500 tons in there if we want. You don't want to spend that kind of money, $76 a ton.
Over the years, you know, if we get one spent that way, or even over the years.
As it
if you
gets
don't
cheap.
use if you don't use summer's work, you know, I mean,
What's
winter's work,
the
you-
definition
you
of
can
cheap?
add to it.
Well, cheaper than what it is. I know. if it ever
What's the
does.
definition of, it was 36 and they had a self-imposed shortage and it jumped up to 70 and it never has gotten, it's gone up to 80, up to 89.
counties are paying
Now,
100.
now 76 is cheap compared to 80, but it's really not cheap, so. It's how much you want to spend for it. But we're going to order 1,000 tons, right, Dean? That's what you and I talked about. We got 1,400 tons budgeted at that price, not central salt, but cargo salts.
Do you
Cargo.
think they honor that, I guess?
I hope they do. If they don't, we'll have big empty buildings.
Oh, well, because we didn't have it honored on that thing.
We got a contract with them.
Yeah. Oh, we do the state price contract to the,
Reverse bid.
Yeah, and we send all the information, paperwork that they require, and we'll probably be one of the first to ask for salt. We don't normally ask for salt this time of year. We usually ask for salt in February when our building gets low, and that's when they have a tough time giving it to us, so I hope.
last year, they were 400 tons short of giving us.
Yeah, they didn't give us what we asked for.
And see, if we
But I
did
didn't have
have
a place
a
for it
long
anyway.
winter, we would have been short.
Yeah, would have been.
Yeah, they said it's a big bad winter, the persimmon got several.
So anyway, that's where we're going with that, so. They're actually, we're working on the front parking lots today, so we'll be paving those front parking lots too with that crew. That's the crew 1, the grader crew, which does that patching work. Great all crew, done some routine stuff, cross drains on Mobley Mill, Fogle Road, we cleared some trees and stuff like that. We got kind of caught up, so I split that crew up and sent them around the county, straightening up, replacing signs as there's a lot of traffic signs out there that are crooked, tilting, wrong,
And push, bend.
bullet holes in, shotgun blast. You can't straighten them up. You got to pull them and reset them. I've tried the same thing. Unless you got a backhoe or something. Anyway, we've done a lot of that. It's not all done. They've identified all the stop signs that probably ought to be the reflective sign. I got about 20, 30 of those I got to get put up.
Putting up the new retro reflectivity where it's got the.
And done some cold mix patching and hauling cover soil for the landfill. Brad Seedman covering some long-term cover in some areas, and the road department's done that. Going to do some seeding and strawing. That's about it. One other thing, Dean, and one thing I need to mention, I guess, is striping, pavement striping. We ought to probably look at some roads that need pavement striping. We got a call on Arnold Lane. I went and looked at it yesterday. It needs
Restriping?
It needs restriping.
Restriping.
These are restriping, not new
Yeah.
striping.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got about, did some $33,000 worth of striping if we did it every year. So we don't do it every year, but there's
We usually rotate every 3 years or so for.
some of these are 5 years and you can't even see the lines, so, I got.
Which road do you have, Jim?
What I'm looking at is American Drive,
What's the total?
that's $2,800, $2,844. Woodlawn Road, which is Marks Lane, 605 Marks Lane, because they paved it. We had a double yellow line there. We didn't stripe that, right? It was-
It hadn't been
yeah,
striped, no.
I didn't think we did. Plum Run Road, that's Lower Road to Stoner. And then Arnold Lane is Arnold Lane from Cherokee Avenue all the way down in the three-lane turn at the bottom. You're looking at 3, 4, 5, 9, $10,000.
Let me look at the budget, Jim, before you.
Arnold Lane really needs it for the school bus.
I understand.
I'd say that'd be the priority
Priority
one.
one. Well, you can go ahead and do that one, but if you're gonna do the whole bunch, we'll have to look at the budget.
I'm just saying though, that's for the school buses going up for the school. They need it.
Just send me a PO on what you want, and I'll go through it. I'm ready to look at it. We got the rest of the year to go.
While we on that road department, that old backhoe we talked about getting rid of, we probably ought to declare it surplus. We have not done that.
That's on my little list there.
Okay.
Jim, you'll get these to, oh, yeah. Get these to me and I'll get with the individual magistrates in the districts. Okay?
Yeah, it's, those,
We'll
these are
schedule
all
them.
last striped in 2010, they're 5 years, it doesn't last much better than that.
Bernard wanted to declare that old backhoe as surplus, one's got the broken.
That's fine.
We already advertised it, didn't we?
No, that's, the advertisement's in the paper, the one that we're buying, that we're buying one, that we're renting.
We've already got people turning bids in.
Yeah, I don't guess they're reading the ad.
They're not-
We're buying a used one, that's what was throwing me. People said, well, you've already, you got that old backhoe for sale, and I said, well, not that I know of, there's an ad in the paper, and I thought, well, maybe you can put it in the paper, I don't know.
Well, what about that other cop carts down there? Can we go and get rid of it, one sit beside?
That's the one in the
That's the one that
back.
Michael Clark was involved in an accident, we need to check on that. They, we're told to keep,
Two or three of them probably down there. So we had them stripped and wet here.
yeah, but the one that Michael Clark was in an accident, we were told to keep that,
That's correct.
yeah.
It's been moved a half dozen times.
Yeah, see, moved it here, it's up over there.
Nobody wants it.
Well, there's nothing left of it. I mean, it's,
We had heard it about moving.
But first, let's
No.
entertain a motion to declare that the old, that's an old Caterpillar.
416,
416.
416B.
As surplus and advertised for sealed bids on that particular vehicle.
I make the motion.
Okay, motion by Bernard Rice, second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye. Disapproved? Motion carried.
The other one, I went on and put an ad to buy it. We had a 6-month lease to buy option. Well, we have to still bid it out and give everybody a shot to bid it. And that's what it is. And bids open the 28th, and you guys will get a copy of them to board or whatever the following Wednesday, because the following Tuesday's Christmas.
How's the lease backhoe working?
Good, real good, works good. It's an IT integrated tool carrier type, so we can pop the bucket off and use our forks, and it's handy, real handy, and we use it quite often. But you gotta have a backhoe, even though we got the grader.
On that backhoe that you guys are gonna take sealed bids on, you need to set up a minimum on it. If not, you're gonna have to get $100. It needs to be at least what metal price.
That's what we generally try to do.
I understand. You just need to set it. Do what?
I said it's worth more.
Oh, I understand, but if you don't set a minimum on
Right,
it, guy comes in bidding $100.
You know, I've had one guy ask if he'd rather have an auction. That way, that way they'll bid what they want to bid for. The sealed bid is harder on them, I guess.
Yeah, let them bid. On one or two pieces, it's not worth.
It's fine, I just, I've
So
got a
then
new
we're
method.
going to decide, I think we need to come up with what Brad said, do a minimum on it.
Metal prices are like $45 a ton is all they are right
I
now.
know.
They're really low.
Yes, it is. Any more taking-
45 a ton, I think is what I heard
Yep.
yesterday.
Almost
I
cost as
think
much
weigh
gas.
about 12,000,
Depends.
6 tons.
If you add the broken boom on it,
Ain't much,
it's not part.
$300.
What we'll do, I'll go down and we'll
You're
get
seeing-
tires,
you're right.
and I'll go to get some magazines, got all these magazines to tell you about, because you got a broken backhoe on it.
Yeah.
And we'll set a minimum, what the market is.
And if
It's got
nobody
what,
bids on it, then
12,
we'll go from there.
14,000 hours on that, I'd say.
5,000, I think he said.
5,000 on the engine, it's a.
But it's a rebuilt engine.
Let's put it this way, I looked through one of the trade
she
magazines
said
this
5,000.
morning, trying to identify what it would be worth.
But he looked up other.
Nothing that old in any of the magazines.
Too long a new engine.
Does the loader on the front of it work?
Yes.
The loader works.
And it's got a clam bucket loader, right?
So you could just drop that off the back of it, right?
If you want
The
to.
back's cut off.
It's already off.
It was split off, so we just
Okay.
burned off some.
We'll make the deal right now, Jerry, if you want.
Well, we've already, we'll move forward, I'll call.
I got a lot of junk.
Will you just
It-
let us know what the
I will.
minimum is? Before we advertise, then we need to put a minimum on.
I will. I always generally try to do that on something fairly good.
And one other thing on
If it's so good,
Mago is paving county roads now. We're actually gonna finish up on city streets this week and then start paving county roads next week. Let
It
y'all know.
starts raining, so I'm gonna hold up on one or two tonight.
Well, they're not gonna pave in the rain, but you know how that goes.
I know,
It's
rain
out
and
there.
cold weather though.
I'm not out
Now till all
mid-November.
this week will be good.
Yeah. That's like I say, City Street's all this.
If he cuts off, don't want to bring them on my way, I'll take all the blacktop I get.
Jim, got anything else?
That's it.
EMS report, Joe is not here today. Jail report, Dorcas.
Okay, today we have a total of 139 inmates. We have 3 in Hardin County, 1 on home incarceration. We have 32 state inmates. We have 5 serving weekends. We have 1 at KCPC, so we have an in-house total of 129. And I'd like to get Fiscal Court to approve a full-time. I've had a full-time deputy to leave. He's supposed to start in the police academy the first of the year, so he went on and resigned. That was Jeremy Culver. And I'd like to have Jim Berry approved as full-time. He's been working part-time, doing a really good job.
I'll make that motion, Joe, if you want to do that.
Yeah, Jim Berry, full-time.
Yes.
Yeah. Motion to approve by Sam Hutchins, or second? Second by Jerry Hahn. All approved, say aye. Disapprove? The motion will carry. I'm looking up something here for.
That's all I have to do.
Jim Berry lives on Hubbard's Lane. He's a good guy.
You're right. You're right.
Been working part-time for
Just
about
right.
2 months. And
Yeah, well-
He's a good guy.
yeah, he seems to be really good, to be very honest.
That it, Dorcas?
That's it. That's all I have to report.
And before we go to the landfill solid waste report, I made a mistake on the zone request for Greg Hutchins. We approved that. That's under the new, so we really did not need to have a second. She didn't catch it.
We thought that, but,
Why didn't you tell him?
well,
It'll make you look like.
it's a learning curve,
After
Judge.
21 years, it's hard to change, isn't it?
Was that a second reading? though?
Don't have to have.
Remember
Yeah, I
when,
knew the planning zone's handling it, but I thought that was.
No, we don't have
well,
to.
we
came up
concurred
last
with them and
We
unless
just
there's
omit
a,
that from the record there, Lane. That's all you got.
I thought that
Just take it out.
was
It wasn't necessary, it's like a bump in the law. Landfill solid waste report, Brad.
Okay, we're finally getting somewhat back to normal on our vehicles, getting closer. Got a roll-off truck back, it's been running since me and Keith talked yesterday, middle of last week. Had some issues with the computer and then the wiring and stuff, so we all got that solved. So we're back to normal on the roll-off truck. Should get 1 garbage truck back tomorrow. I get the other one back late October is what they're telling us, so that'll bring us back up to speed where we need to be.
You're saying it's been running for almost half a week?
I know, I'm jinxing myself.
What about your other trucks that you delivered late November one?
The truck itself will be.
Okay,
So
that's
then they
right.
got to put the beds on, which the beds are 60 days or 90, depending on which one it is. So it'll be first of the year before we get those other ones. And then we'll need to surplus some equipment at that time from my department. And we'll figure that out. I'll give it to you guys. Figure out what we're going to do.
we need to keep lots of parts in them.
We will piece them out.
Yeah.
I
I
mean-
mean, no more scrap it, we got plenty of room now.
And that's what I'm gonna do with some of those older garbage trucks, the one I may get rid of, is we're gonna take every cylinder off of it that'll swap over to another truck. Those cylinders are $1,200, $1,300 a piece.
Right.
They don't work very well with that one, so. Then outside, that, like I said, we've been hauling dirt and whatnot, kinda getting ready for the fall, and Jim and them have been helping out with that. That's it, really.
Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
Since election day would be our next court meeting date, we will have a court, if it's okay with the magistrates here, on November the 4th. That will be a special meeting, and I'll make sure that I have it laid out where everything we need to talk about is on the agenda, best I can. And that's the fall elections, a little more busier than the spring election. We hope. We hope.
Looks like it might be.
So, does nobody have a problem with that?
No, I'm good with that.
Board appointments, I have 4 members to the Recreation Board. I've still got 1 more that I'm going to recommend to you fellas. I've already asked 2 prospects. I'll let you know how it turns out in the near future, hopefully. First, if we could do all these together, it would be appreciated. First would be to the Nelson County Recreation Board, Keith Metcalf, Raymond Pinarola, John Cecil, and Sue Rogers. John and Sue were on the joint board that we had, and we need 1 more. And again, I'm working on that. Hopefully, we'll get this started and give Tyler some more work to do. Motion to approve these appointments. Motion by Bernard Ice, second by Jeff Lear. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove?
Should we not also come up with some, like an agenda or a scope of work or for them before we actually put all these guys into operation here?
You mean the mission?
A mission statement for the board?
Yeah.
And I think at first, maybe we ought to have a meeting every month. Our old board only met once
Every other month.
Yeah, every other month, until Tyler knows the board and we know Tyler, and go out there and line out some things and get a feel of things. It's just going to take a little while, so we may do the rest this year, maybe part of next year, every month until we get
I would think the first role, of course, most boards are policy makers, generally speaking,
Right.
and setting policy for your guidelines to the park or updating what you all thought. Had continued with Donna, and I'm sure Donna will work with you a little bit on that, as long as the mayor doesn't find out.
Do it on her time.
No, the mayor's come around a little bit, so
I don't know
hopefully.
why you're smiling, Tyler. You just got 4 new bosses, right?
5 new bosses. Well, no, you had 1, so 4 new bosses. You ought to be cringing.
I know one of them's pretty shifty.
But Tyler, the park looks good. The improvements you've made out there are very noticeable, and I think they're very deserving. Let's know.
Yeah, Tyler, you have anything else you want to report on? What goals and objectives you're working on?
Been cleaning up, just working on stuff like that. Just cutting some sod and working on the baseball fields right now.
Football season about
Football season, I think, in November 1st, is that right?
They start their tournament this weekend, so you got 2 more weeks.
Mark was asking about winterizing.
Yeah, you got 2 more weeks of football, soccer, I'll have to check into it.
Soccer.
You're probably through middle of November. It's probably what time we'll winterize out there, which means shutting it down, getting the water out, blowing the pipes out and whatnot. What Tyler's doing is being modest. He's trying to get these baseball fields. You really need to get them to where they drain well before you enter the wet season, so that when spring comes around, you're not behind the 8 ball. So if you're really trying to get these fields to crown right and drain right, they need somebody to love on. That's what he's saying.
And there's some kind of stuff you can put on them into Tyler to help.
You've got PON on it. Yeah.
That way, unlike that, you let
Is that what that deal was?
you let it stay wet and moist all year, then it's all gummy when you go start playing ball on it.
Is that $100 PO?
You hit one.
Yeah, it's not
What Dean's talking about is, how you hit.
It's called Marmix. It's a sand and clay and a silt blend. Like a sand, it dries out quicker than topsoil, so it doesn't stay muddy. So what it does is you'll put it in now, so it compacts, so it helps when it rains, it dries out faster. So when you have rain, the water it sucks in the water and it dries out quicker. So we won't have them problems. Hopefully, with rainouts.
Right.
And it helps, and it makes it easier for when I go out there to get the fields ready. Like it's easier to work with. It doesn't dry out.
I was out there at the beginning of this season, they had 7 or 8 soft pipes out there.
Yeah.
Literally just sucking the water off.
It doesn't hold water as bad in pond and puddle either.
He's trying to make plans so when spring comes around, he has to get the field ready. He doesn't spend 10 hours getting the field ready.
this stuff may help me, but I can tell you guys, it's expensive. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And
Wasn't it a little more safe on the children also?
Yeah, because it's real soft. It's real soft. It's the field as you're walking down the path. The field that's right down on the left. On the left, that field does have some of it on there. It's very, very little, but it does have it on there. If you keep it wet and moisture in it, it stays really, really soft. It's a real safe. It's because it's like 75% sand is what it is.
Yeah.
What's it cost per field roughly?
Per field, it'll take 24 tons per truck per field.
And how many dollars a ton?
Try so long.
It's about $1,300 per truckload.
$1,300 per truckload. It's cheaper than salt.
We're working on it.
Can you order the sand and make your own?
No, it's manufactured. It's like I wish it's a manufactured stuff. It comes out of like certain places. There's an Ohio plant, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Mississippi, and I think there's one over on the East Coast that make this stuff. If you go look at the high school fields, they got it on. All the high school and St. Catherine College has it. All the main colleges.
Well, they did a whole lot for safety too. Not just
Yeah,
for
safety.
the
Yeah.
field, they did it for the safety.
They got a 74-cent tax rate too.
Yeah.
Is it on Bethlehem's field?
Yeah, it's on Bethlehem's field right now too.
Bethlehem's field. Okay.
We'll move on. Ribbon cutting at the Nelson County Fire Station. What time do you guys plan on having that today? 11 o'clock. You guys, if you be out there, it'd be appreciated. They want to have a little ceremony and give us a walkthrough. I guess this might be a good time to ask, with the separation that's happened, I've noticed that the Bardstown Fire Department is making a lot of runs that are ambulance type of runs.
That's correct.
And
they have.
Are they getting called out?
They are as part. I think as part of the transition and was hiring the full-time firefighters up there. They decided to have all of their firefighters EMT trained. And then in conjunction with Joe Pruitt with the ambulance service, they're working together so that they're making emergency medical runs within the city limits. Prior to, I think, Monday of last week, they were doing them only Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Monday of last week, they started doing them 24/7. So they're making all emergency.
Just in the corporate limits.
Just in the corporate limits, yes, sir.
Well, the ambulance run, the fire run over there on Heaven Hill, Saturday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, it's like 5:30. That's outside the city limits.
Right, that was a county run, yeah.
All that was county. All yes. Those people, okay.
Yeah. We requested mutual aid from the city just because of the circumstances of that accident. The way the vehicle was up underneath the floor of that warehouse, unsure of what had occurred inside the warehouse. Our crews were working on getting the victim out of the vehicle, so we requested the city to come help us.
I noticed he was air flighted out.
Yes, he was.
Hope he's got a good insurance policy.
That was his mother's vehicle.
$25,000.
But $30,000. Take an air flight. 38. Austin.
Yeah, Austin is a test that kicks on.
I got one. I'm gonna put my little ribbon around it. Don't take it by air. Please. Thank you. We'll be out.
So our ambulances are not responding in Bardstown?
Our ambulances are responding, but the fire truck's showing up and administering.
They don't transport, Sam. The city fire department does not transport. I think the idea behind it is, and I wish Joe was here because he's more involved with that, but sometimes the city can get there quicker, like for emergency runs. Like just a few minutes ago when my pager went off, they were going to chest pains at the Bardstown Animal Clinic. So the fire department a lot of times can get there quicker than the ambulances. They start initial care, then the ambulance service comes in and does the transport.
It's just, they're only EMTs, they're not paramedics.
They have some that are paramedics, just because of the group of individuals that they hire
That
from.
they hire, yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't have a doctor. Is Dr. Smith
Dr. Smith is still
over supervising the
Yes.
EMTs? Okay.
Right.
I want to make sure. So they're under our insurance doing that.
That's possible. I don't know the answer to that.
I'm just digging. Just digging.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
You get sued, you know who'll get sued, but Dr. Smith is.
I know that he was the medical administrator of our SCBA respiratory protection program. So I'm assuming that and he was also the administrator for our first responders, who were not EMT certified, but just at first responder level. So I'm assuming that he's probably still the administrator.
Anybody else have anything else? Anybody else have any business want to bring before the court? Otherwise, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Bernard Ice, second by Jerry Hahn. All approved, say aye. Disapprove? Motion carries.